Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here, coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Days Gone again. Now, I'm sorry about the audio. It's going to sound different than what you guys are used to. That is because I'm recording this from my house, and right now my wife and kids are asleep, and I can't really raise my voice any louder than this. But anyway, you guys might be wondering, why am I recording a video on Days Gone when I just did my initial impressions yesterday? Well, if you guys remember, I left that video off in a tone where I was like, I really don't know if this game is for me because of how I felt about the combat, because of how I felt about some of the repetitive tasks that the game was placing in front of me, and a couple of other reasons. However, there was one thing that I definitely enjoyed during the time that I had spent with the game, and that thing was its story. So I figured, when I got home after doing the videos that I did for that day, I was just like, you know what, I feel like playing a little bit more of Days Gone. So I played a little bit more of Days Gone yesterday, and I started really getting engrossed into the story of the game. And then earlier today, I live streamed it over on Twitch, which, by the way, if you guys aren't following me on Twitch, why not? You guys really should. But anyways, I streamed it over on Twitch, and I had a lot of fun while I was streaming it on Twitch. And then I came back home, spent some time with my family, and then when they went to bed, I played some more Days Gone. And one of the things that I definitely started noticing is that the story wasn't just slightly getting to me, it was really starting to get to me. Like, the more I played the game, the more I wanted to see what was happening with these different characters, and the more I wanted to interact with all of the systems around that open world that I told you guys about, because I did say, even though the combat didn't feel all that particularly good, the systems around that combat did feel very, very nice. And so I just kept on playing, and now what I have to say is that the more I play the game, the more I like it. Like, I still feel extremely conflicted because of that earlier, how the early combat in the game feels, but right now I feel like I am invested to the point where I'm definitely going to be seeing the story through. Like, I just feel that the character development throughout the story is really good. The voice acting, like I said in my video, feels really solid, and the cutscenes that the game has, they just really deliver on the narrative. Like, there's a lot of really solid character development on those cutscenes that I personally have been really enjoying. And I understand that maybe the story is not for everyone. I mean, I'm usually not even one to care that much about the zombie games, if I'm to be completely honest. And the interesting thing here is, people are going to say, oh, but those are not zombies, they're freakers. Whatever, dude, they're zombies. Let's be perfectly honest about that. And it's just, I don't tend to get that attached to zombie games, but there's just something there that just keeps me coming back, and I just keep getting more immersed and invested in the world. And I just felt like I needed to do another video to talk about it, because one of the things that I said is that in my previous video was that I've thought that the combat was going to get better, but I just didn't know, right? Well, now that I've interacted with the systems and I've gotten way more skills and I've gotten a lot more of the weapons, like we're talking, I think right now I'm about 22 to 24 hours into the game, and it's just feeling a lot better. Like, it still doesn't feel perfect because, you're going to get more skills and you're going to get better weapons and all that stuff. And I think that at that point is when the combat is really going to start to click. But it's like, even though the combat doesn't feel perfect, it already feels good enough that I'm comfortable just enjoying the game using the combat options that I have right now. I have better weapons. I have skills that complement my playstyle. I even have a couple of more combat options. Like, one of the things that I really enjoy is using this poisoned bolt in my crossbow, which is not really poison. It's got like this special residue thing. I forget what the name of that they call it. But basically what that does is it confuses enemies and they start shooting at each other. And that is pretty cool because you can basically shoot a couple of them with that stuff. And it introduces a more strategic element to taking over camps and just going in there, shooting up the place or stealthing up the place or whatever. Because one of the things that I've always said that I wanted to do was to interact with the freakers and send the freakers out into those camps, because that would be interesting. And so far the game hasn't really done that. And like I said, I'm about 24 hours into the game, and I've had a couple of opportunities to pull in a couple of freakers into a camp, but I just haven't been able to really bring in like a massive horde to just overrun. And I don't know if they're not doing that because then the game would just become too easy, or what the reasoning is behind that. But that is something that I would really like to see mixed in with the combat, because the combat is starting to click, and with the story being super solid and just all of the systems around the rest of the game feeling nice, I'm enjoying the game so much more than I was initially expecting. It's one of those games that you really kind of got to give it time. You got to put in that time in that early stages of the game where the game just like, the combat just doesn't feel good, and I think that is such a disservice that they've done to themselves, the way that the combat feels earlier in the game, because it is starting to feel better now, and the story that they are telling and the characters that you are interacting with, and just like the background stories of each of these survivor camps that you speak with, they just start coming into place, and I've been so impressed with how a lot of this stuff works, because like you talk to the leaders of each of the camps and you start making judgments on their characters as you are thinking about, okay, so this guy is like this. You start thinking about this guy's an asshole. This old lady is a very nice old lady. This other guy is also a bit of an asshole. And you start thinking like that. But then as the story starts evolving and you start figuring out what is actually happening in each of these camps, you're like, holy crap, what the hell have I been doing? Because as you play through the game, you will actually encounter people randomly throughout the world that you can like rescue, and as you rescue them, you can then go like, oh, you should go to a camp, and you can tell them which camp they should go to. And whenever you send them to a camp, you're going to get like some kind of a reward. Some camps give you additional camp credits, other camps give you reputation and stuff like that. But then you start thinking about the fate of these people, and there's actually main quests surrounding some of these people that go on to these camps and the stuff that happens to them. And it's just been so interesting to actually explore the story from that aspect. And then as you get to know your own character and the things that your character has done in the past, it's just, again, it's been something that I've been really, really surprised with. I was not expecting it to be this good because, again, when you start playing the game, it just feels generic, I think. I think the first, 10 hours or so of Days Gone just feel completely generic. And that is the biggest problem with the game, because it is not as generic as its initial hours make it seem. The more you play this game, the more it gives back to you. And now you guys might be wondering, okay, so what's the deal? Like, what has been changing you all that much? And mainly it's the story, like I've been saying, but not just that. It is also the fact that now the combat is beginning to click. And I think one of the really important things is also how they're handling their open world, which, like I said, you have like these stories that are kind of divided amongst themselves as you try to do these different activities. But one of the things that I've been noticing that the game is really good at doing, and I'm not sure if anybody's been talking about this or not, because, I've heard about some of these reviews that people have been putting out and giving it 5 out of 10. I'm like, whoa, 5 out of 10? I mean, you're entitled to your opinion for sure, but like, I think 5 out of 10 is incredibly unfair. But anyway, as I was saying, the thing about the open world that this game does really, really well is that it gives you a lot of things to do without necessarily overwhelming you. Because you know how usually when you get to an open world game and you're like, okay, I've unlocked this new activity, and the game just like populates its map with like 30 different instances of this activity that you just unlocked, right? And then you unlock another activity, and the game unlocks 30 more instances of this other activity, and then you look at the map and it's just like a bunch of friggin' markers that don't even make any sense, and you're just looking at it, just completely overwhelmed, right? I think that this game has never given me more than 6 things to do on any given occasion, and those things are, even though some of them are repetitive, like taking over marauder camps or cleaning out infestation of freaker nests or something along those lines, usually they don't take that long to complete. And that is the essence of it, because like you go do this activity and then that one's checked off your list, and then it's like, okay, you got 3 more activities that you can go do, and you go choose whatever activity you want, and then something happens in between, they give you another activity. But they keep the number of activities that they are throwing at you while allowing you to vary what you are doing in terms of playstyle. Like, hey, I don't really feel like doing a stealth mission right now, I want to go kill some freakers. Or maybe I don't feel like killing freakers right now, maybe I want to go do a stealth mission instead. And they keep a nice variety of things that you can do depending on which point you are at the story, naturally, because as the story evolves, they're going to start funneling you into certain activities that are the part of the main story. But the variety that they keep throwing at you, while it's nice, it gives you a couple of choices, it doesn't overwhelm you. It doesn't tell you like, hey, here's 40 or 50 different things that you can go do right now. And I'm just like, damn. Which I feel that's nice. I feel that's a good way of doing it, of handling the open world nature of the game. Also, the bike itself is something that has started to feel incredibly better as I put more and more upgrades into it, which, again, it's one of those things that the early hours of the game are just so rough, down to the point where they feel unpolished. And the more I play the game, it's not that the combat is not polished, is that it is intentional that you struggle that much early on so that you feel the progression. But I just wish there was a better way to do it, because I know for a fact that it is going to turn a lot of people off to the game. It definitely turned me off in my initial hours of the game. I was like, dude, there's no way I'm finishing this game. The shooting feels horrible. The combat doesn't feel good. I'm just not feeling it, right? Because you're just, you're just trying to play the game and it doesn't feel fun. But after you get through that early slog in the game, as the game starts opening up, as it starts giving you more interesting story, as it starts allowing you to, diversify your playstyle and like choose, I want to go for this type of weapon. I want to go for this kind of playstyle. Like I've been going around with my crossbow, usually doing stealth whenever I can, but when I can't, I just pop out a nice rifle that I have, which also allows me to shoot at a decent range and deals decent damage, which I am now able to take out a lot of enemies. Even I have a better sidearm that I picked up somewhere that I didn't even buy. I was able to loot it off of an enemy that apparently had like a rare version of a sidearm that I hadn't really seen yet. And I don't know, there's just something about it that has now it keeps me going back to it, which is weird because like my video that I did yesterday, I left the game in a way I was like, I don't even know if I'm going back. And now I keep leaving the game in a way where it's like, oh man, I can't wait to go back. I'm just like, I'm thinking about it in my head all the time, which is weird. It's been a long time since a game has done something like that to me. I guess it might also have something to do with the state that the industry is in, where it's just the fact that you can get a single player game that isn't really trying to get you to engage with the game, so to speak, as opposed to all of the games as a service that are out there right now. It just feels nice to play a single-player game that is somewhat respectful of your time. It isn't trying to put you through some kind of fucked-up grind. It's just, again, there is that initial 10-hour period or so that feels bad. But, man, if you guys got this game, I'm not telling you that you should go out and buy it or whatever. Maybe wait for a discount because of those early 10 hours that are kind of going to suck. But it's just like, if you've already gotten it and you've gotten to that, you're still in those early hours and you're just feeling like, oh man, this game's terrible, I'm never gonna finish, I hate it, whatever. Like, really make an effort, because I did it and it is paying off so much more now. And the other thing is, and just real quick in terms of difficulty, because I was talking with my chat over on Twitch today, because when I played the game at the preview event, I played it on hard because I wanted to see what the difficulty was like, and I've been playing it on normal in my regular playthrough, and I'm going to advise you guys to go with normal, because it doesn't seem like hard actually improves the enemy AI at all. The only thing that it does is it makes the enemies get more health, which it doesn't really become more challenging because you have to take more shots at the enemies. Instead, it becomes more of a challenge in terms of you managing your resources. So just letting you guys know about that in terms of difficulty. I mean, if there's anyone that disagrees, if anyone is playing the game on hard right now and you think that that is wrong, I'm just telling you the conclusions that I've drawn after talking with some people in my chat that have been playing the game on the harder difficulty. And they were looking at me playing on normal and they were like, yeah, the AI seems about the same. So, yeah, I would definitely advise you guys to go with normal, because personally, I don't like having to manage resources all that much. I prefer experiencing story and, engaging in the combat, not having to worry about, oh, I'm going to have to put 10 bullets into this guy and I might have to run out of bullets before I actually finish this encounter, So, but yeah, it's definitely really cool. Like some of the turns that I've experienced today in the story, I was just like, what the hell? No. how did that happen? And it's cool. I mean, I don't know. I'm enjoying it way more than I was enjoying it when I did my video, and I just felt like I should update that take right there. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit it up with a like. If you didn't enjoy it, hit it up with a dislike. If you're new here, consider subscribing, hitting the bell notification icon. You guys know what it's like. Comment and feedback in the comment section down below. May your shields never break and stay strong. I actually said that reverse, but the hell with it. Peace out, team.